They call me a monster. They call me the scourge of God. In your history books, I am the face of the apocalypse, a barbarian who rode out of the steppes to drown the world in blood. But you small, civilized people, you do not understand the math of survival. I killed 40 million people. Let that number sink into your mind. 40 million souls, 10% of the entire human population of the earth, extinguished by my command. I depopulated entire civilizations. I erased cities so thoroughly that horses could graze where palaces once stood. But ask yourself this. What happens when you silence 40 million, breathing, consuming, burning humans? The forests return. The carbon vanishes from the sky. The temperature of the planet drops. I did not just conquer the world. I healed it. Deep breath. By the sword, I scrubbed 700 million tons of carbon from the atmosphere. I am the greatest environmentalist in the history of your species. You plant trees to save your planet. I planted the dead, and the earth thanked me for it. I am not a villain. I am a force of nature, a forest fire that burns away the rot so that something stronger can grow. Do you think I enjoyed the killing? No. Enjoyment is for the weak. For me, it was necessary. It was gardening. You wonder where a man learns to butcher a nation without blinking. He learns it when he is a boy, watching his father die. I was not born Genghis Khan. I was born Temujin, and I learned the taste of betrayal before I learned to ride. The Tatars, spits with disgust. They poisoned my father. They left me, a child, to starve on the frozen steppes, eating rats and moss to survive. They thought they had crushed the wolf cub. They forgot that wolves grow. When I returned, I did not bring mercy. Mercy is a luxury of the rich. On the steppe, mercy is suicide. I defeated the Tatars, but victory was not enough. As long as they remembered their fathers, they would hate me. As long as the bloodline existed, the war would never end. So I gave the order that would define my legacy. I gathered the Tatar prisoners, thousands of them, men who had been great warriors, men who had laughed at my hunger. And I brought out a wagon. It was a simple test, the linchpin test. I ordered every male Tatar to stand beside the wheel of the wagon. If his head rose above the linchpin, the axle of the wheel, he was to be executed instantly. Think about what that means. The linchpin is not high. It is the height of a child's chest. I did not just kill the soldiers. I killed the fathers. I killed the grandfathers. I killed the older brothers. The only ones left alive were the babies, the children too small to remember their names, too small to remember their hatred. I adopted them. I raised them as Mongols. I wiped the word Tatar from the face of the earth, not by burning books, but by cutting off the heads of anyone tall enough to remember it. Cruelty, scoff. No, that is not cruelty. That is engineering. I built a new nation out of the ashes of the old one. I taught the world a lesson that day. If you strike at a wolf, you must kill him. Because if you leave him alive, he will not just kill you. He will erase your very name from history. But the Tatars were just the beginning. The world needed to learn fear. True fear. Not the fear of pain, but the fear of extinction. Look at Nishapur, a great city, a jewel of Persia. They thought their walls would save them. They thought their culture, their poets, their gods would protect them. They made a mistake. They killed Tokchar. Tokchar was my son-in-law, my blood, my family, though an arrow from the walls of Nishapur took his life. And my daughter, my grieving daughter, she came to me. She did not ask for gold. She did not ask for land. She asked for silence. She said, "Father, make sure nothing remains, not a man, not a woman, not a dog, not a cat." I promised her it would be done. We breached the walls, and then the work began. It was not a battle, it was a harvest. I ordered my soldiers to separate the heads from the bodies, but I did not let them rot in a pile. No, chaos is for animals. I am a man of order. We built pyramids. Great geometric pyramids of bone and flesh. One pyramid for the men, one pyramid for the women, and one pyramid for the children. We stacked them meticulously, layer by layer, staring out at the horizon with dead eyes. 1,748,000 people. Gone in days. Why? Why kill the dogs? Why kill the cats? Because I wanted the silence to be absolute. I wanted the wind to blow through Nishapur and find no resistance, no heartbeat, no bark, no cry. Just the sound of the wind whistling through the teeth of 1,000,000 skulls. This is the price of defying the Khan. I told them, I am the flail of God. If you had not committed great sins, God would not have sent a punishment like me upon you. I am not a man. I am the consequence of your arrogance. I am the answer to the question, what happens when civilization fails? I happen. And I was just getting started. The world was still too loud. It needed to be quieter. It needed to be colder. Men are simple creatures. They understand pain, and they understand gold. But they rarely understand that gold is heavy, heavy enough to drown you. I did not want to burn the West. In the beginning, I reached out my hand. I sent a caravan to the city of Otrar, a caravan of peace loaded with camel hair, silver, and jade. I wanted trade. I wanted to connect the sunrise to the sunset. But Governor Inalchuk, Spitz, he was a small man with a voracious appetite. He looked at my merchants and saw only spies. He looked at my goods and saw only loot. He slaughtered my men. He stole my caravan. He insulted the wolf. He made a fatal calculation. He thought I was just a barbarian from a yurt. He did not know that he had just invited the apocalypse to his doorstep. We took Otrar. It took 5 months. We leveled the walls. And when we dragged Inalchuk out of his citadel, he was trembling. He offered me the gold he had stolen back. He begged for his life. I looked at him and I felt pity. Pity for his hunger. I said to him, "You have such a great thirst for precious metals. You killed for silver. You betrayed for silver. It is only right that you should be filled with it." I ordered my smiths to melt the silver coins he had stolen. We heated it until it was a liquid, shimmering white mirror. A river of boiling wealth. And then we poured it. We poured the molten silver into his eyes. We poured it into his ears. I watched the steam rise as his greed consumed him from the inside out. He screamed, but only for a moment. Then, he was heavy. He was solid. He finally had all the silver he ever wanted. I left him there, a statue of his own avarice, a warning to every king and governor in the West. If you steal from the Khan, you will choke on your prize. But silver is cold. Blood. Blood is warm, and the blood of kings is sacred. When we rode west, we met the Russian princes at the Kalka River. They were proud men. They wore iron armor. They prayed to their cross. They looked down on us as dirty nomads. But iron does not stop the wind. We crushed their armies. We surrounded their leaders. They surrendered. They asked for mercy. They asked to be treated with the dignity of royalty. In our law, the yasa, it is forbidden to spill the blood of a noble on the ground. The soul lives in the blood. To spill it is an insult to the sky god. I respected their request. Deep breath, I promised them. Not a drop of your blood will touch the earth. I kept my promise. We gathered the princes, Mstislav and his kin, and we laid them down on the ground, bound, alive, breathing. And then we placed heavy wooden planks on top of them. We built a floor, a stage made of wood and living bodies. And then we feasted. My generals and I sat on the wooden platform. We drank fermented mare's milk. We ate roast lamb. We laughed. We sang songs of victory. And beneath us, the floor moved. We dined to the symphony of cracking ribs. The muffled screams of the princes were our music. As the night went on, and the dancing became heavier, the movement beneath the floor stopped. They were suffocated, crushed by the weight of our celebration. It was a noble death. No blood was spilled. Their souls remained inside their broken bodies. This is how the Mongols show mercy. We do not just defeat you. We turn your death into the foundation of our joy. Cruelty to enemies is easy. Sigh. Cruelty to those you love, that is the burden of a king. Jamuka. Voice softens. He was my Anda, my blood brother. When we were children, we exchanged knuckle bones. We slept under the same blanket on the frozen ground. We swore that we were one soul in two bodies. But the steppe is not big enough for two sons. Jamuka was brilliant. He was charismatic. But he was traditional. He wanted the old ways, where birth determined your rank. I wanted a world where loyalty determined your rank. We fought. For years, we danced a dance of death across the plains. And in the end, his own men betrayed him. They brought him to me, bound in ropes, expecting a reward. I executed the traitors instantly. A man who betrays his master will betray anyone. But Jamuka, I offered him a hand. I said, let us be brothers again. Let us rule together. He looked at me with those eyes I knew so well, and he said, no, Temujin. There is only room for one Khan. If you let me live, I will be the louse in your collar. I will be the thorn in your boot. Give me the gift of death. He asked for the death of a noble, to die without blood. I granted his wish. I did not use a sword. I did not use a bow. I wrapped him in a carpet. I embraced him one last time, and then I broke his back. I felt his spine snap in my arms. I felt the life leave his body. It was the hardest thing I ever did, but it was necessary. To rule the world, you must be willing to kill the part of yourself that loves. I killed Jamuka, and in that moment, Temujin died too. Only Genghis Khan remained. I was alone at the top of a mountain of skulls. But the view, pause. The view was eternal. You think the ultimate conquest is land or gold? Scoff. No, that is the thinking of a peasant. Land rots, gold rusts. The ultimate conquest is biological. It is genetic. It is immortal. I was obsessed with legacy, not monuments of stone which crumble, but monuments of flesh which multiply. I killed the fathers, but I made sure my seed replaced them. This was the true engine of my empire. They speak of my women. They whisper about my harems, They call it lust. They call it pleasure. They do not understand that it was propagation. It was strategic breeding. Every daughter I married into a foreign court, I gave her one rule. Your husband is nothing. Your son must be Khan. Your womb is the future of the Mongol nation. My generals followed my example. They were lions. They spread their seed from the China Sea to the Danube. They killed the old men and left their DNA as a final, permanent flag planted in the earth of the conquered. And now, look at the world. Go to the villages in Persia. Go to the settlements in modern Russia. Go to the great cities of the West. 1 out of every 200 men alive on this planet is a direct descendant of my bloodline. Think about that. I did not just conquer nations. I colonized the human genome. My army is dead. My tent is dust. But my blood runs in the veins of 16 million people. Your neighbor, your colleague, perhaps you yourself. I am a plague that refused to die. I am the eternal ruler. I did not need a throne to command the future. I only needed a woman's womb. The empires I conquered crumbled. The memory of my enemies faded. But my biological victory, that is the only one that will never end. I am the true eternal king. How did I die? This is the final, most satisfying lie I ever told the world. The historians whisper that I fell from my horse. A fitting, simple death for a nomad. Or they tell the tale of the Tangut princess, the beautiful, captured queen who wounded me on our wedding night. A sexual betrayal that festered and killed the great Khan. It does not matter. Cold tone. A storm does not care how the rain begins. The storm only cares that the earth feels its force. I was not afraid of dying. I was afraid of being forgotten. I was afraid of the noise. My entire life was thunder. Battle cries, the clash of steel, the screams of the dying, the roaring laughter of my generals. Noise, noise, noise. When the end came, I craved only one thing, absolute silence. Whisper, absolute, eternal silence. And I made sure I got it. My final command was the greatest act of control in history. No monuments, no flags, no shrine. No one would ever find my body. No enemy would ever desecrate my bones. The funeral procession began. 2,000 hand-picked horsemen, silent as snow, and my body was carried toward the mountains. Every living thing that saw my passing had to die. The slaves who dug my grave, they were killed by the escort. The soldiers who killed the slaves, they were executed by the next rank. The horsemen who knew the final location, they were ordered to ride back and kill every soul they met on the path. Every farmer, every traveler, every shepherd. The path back to my tomb was paved with blood and silence. 2,000 men died just to ensure that the silence was unbroken. Then, they diverted a river over the gravesite. The ultimate erasure. Where is my tomb? It is everywhere. It is nowhere. I am not buried beneath a stone. I am woven into the grass. I am mingled with the soil. The man who made the greatest noise in history achieved the most profound eternal silence. I wanted no one to worship me. I wanted everyone to fear me. And they do. You do. You may not know my name, but my seed knows yours. My fear lives in your history. My silence surrounds your graves. My legacy is not a map. My legacy is your DNA. I am Genghis Khan, and I did not just conquer the world. I consumed it.